You gave me a birthday card that your assistant signed. Then the same day you posted pictures from your trip to Monaco. And now, in front of everyone, you give me a bill for Jennifer's wedding dress like I forgot to pay it. Tell me, do you plan this stuff to be mean, or are you just like this now? I still smiled. I smiled and saved it in my folder.
You just wanted to feel like you were helping, right? Come on. You've always liked being needed more than being respected. And if that hurts now, maybe think about the difference between being practical and being mean. We have real bills to deal with. Weddings are not paid with feelings.
You mean like the $53,000 I sent to your startup 2 years ago? Or the $50 million in property you moved into your name to make things easier? Funny, you didn't bring those up when you gave me that bill. But it's okay, the lawyer did. Also, you might want to check the date on the card you used to buy the lake house. That card wasn't yours.
What are you even saying? That house was a gift. You told me you didn't want to deal with it. Are you changing the story now? Because if you are, I have emails, and we both know how it'll look when you start saying crazy things in court.
She hadn't even talked about the DNA test yet. That would come next. The room was about to get very quiet.
Want to know the moment I stopped feeling like your mother and started feeling like your property? It wasn't with the lawyer. It wasn't when you handed me that business plan, pretending it would help me while quietly setting me up to fail. It was during that dinner. The way you looked at me across the table, like I was just a problem dressed up nice. You stood in that lovely kitchen with your slides and your wine and that fake smile and said, "It's just smart planning, nothing to worry about." Like I hadn't spent my life worrying about you, about this family. While your father was always away and you were pretending you were already successful. You didn't even look me in the eye. That silence broke me, Richard. Not the selfishness, not the arrogance, the silence. I became just another number to you, something to sell. And now all you do is text about next steps. Do you know what it feels like to suddenly be alone after 50 years of someone always being there? It's not empty how you think. It feels quiet, but still alive. That's what you never saw. I gave life to things. You gave them a price. So let me give you some value for once. You lost something valuable when you started using my love like it was a tool to get what you wanted.
You always get dramatic when you feel challenged. It's kind of impressive how quickly you change the story when no one's clapping anymore. I never said you couldn't handle things. I tried to give you support, a plan, safety. But of course, if it doesn't make you feel powerful, it must be me trying to control you. You think love means letting you make big choices with no guidance, just because grief made you feel rebellious. I'm not the bad guy for trying to stop someone from hurting you or leaving you behind, but maybe you'd rather pretend being alone is brave. Deep down though, maybe you just can't face the fact that you've made huge mistakes too.
Want to talk about mistakes? Okay, I should have stopped defending your outbursts when you were still learning math. I should have let you see your dad's failures instead of staying quiet so you could keep pretending he was some kind of hero. I should have told you that having money doesn't mean you know what you're doing, it just makes you harder to talk sense into. And I really should have said no the first time you acted like my signature was just something easy to get. The truth is, I gave up the quiet, private parts of myself, just to make sure you didn't grow up with the same shame I did. It cost me my pride. I hid so you could shine. And now you talk about help like it's a gift, when really it's full of rules. I see the strings every time you say, "I'm just worried." You're not worried, you're exposed. And the scariest thing for you isn't watching me fall, it's knowing I might stand on my own.
You think standing alone means strength, but to the rest of us, it looks like you're falling apart. You don't answer calls, you shut doors on the people who care. You're tired, lost, chasing old memories. And while you're dreaming about second chances, life keeps going. You really think I'm afraid of your freedom? No, I'm scared you'll think being reckless is the same as being wise. And by the time you realize it's not, it'll be too late. But maybe now I'm just another number to you. One more thing you wish you'd never signed up for.
Regret. This isn't about regret. This is about what happens when people make choices. I know what you do. You sound like a loving son, but act like a business manager. Everything becomes a deal. My sadness, your guilt, even the stories you tell your kids about where their school money comes from. You don't know how to care about someone unless you can measure them. You say kind things in soft voices to hide how you want control. And while you're making plans in that shiny bar you named after me without telling anyone, I'm stuck in a house full of memories you want to sell. You think crying once at my birthday means everything's fine now, but tears aren't truth, and silence, that's not forgetting, it's a choice. I kept quiet because I thought love meant taking the pain so others didn't have to. But now I see that silence helped you hold on to the story you wanted about who I was. You're not losing your mother. This is the first time you're really seeing her.
Then maybe I don't like who I see, because she sounds angry, wounded, and yes, careless. I tried to build a safe life for you. I made space for you in my plans. I named my bar after you so I could feel like I never let you down. Not because I needed your approval, because I needed to believe I did something right by you. But fine, you want to be noticed? Fine. Just know that being seen isn't the same as being remembered.
Being remembered only matters when people think of you with love. Not duty, not fear. Love. The kind that stays even after you leave the room. I'm not giving up my power or staying quiet while you reshape my whole life into something clean enough to share online. You can keep your shiny legacy if it means I lose who I am. I've seen too many women fade away in beautiful homes, smiling while everything around them slowly traps them. I won't be like that. When I die, and yes, that's what this is really about, you'll get the truth you've always ignored. I mattered, not for what I gave, not for what you took, but because I finally stood up and said no, and that, my dear son, is what real dignity looks like.
You were always good at using silence like a weapon. Fine. Keep your kingdom of book clubs and boundaries and deep talks while gardening, but don't come crying when the light fades from your big new life and you find yourself alone in a backyard no one visits. You think speaking out makes you powerful. Maybe it just makes you lonely.
I never asked for all this debt hiding behind fake thank yous. I didn't want to be the tired woman holding up everyone's future while pretending to smile through bills, birthday cards with checks, and that stupid fund you made with my name on it. And I sure didn't ask you to show up 2 months after the funeral acting like I'm just some part of your new business plan. I was grieving and you wore your black suit like it was a job interview. Do you even hear what you say? It's just safer like this. Mom, this is how real money works. There was a time you came to me when you fell down and asked about stars. Now you show up with spreadsheets and plans for how I should live. Let's be clear, I see what's going on. You're not worried about me. You're scared you can't keep your perfect image up without using my name to help out quietly. And the worst part, you thought I wouldn't see it. Or even worse, that I wouldn't care.
So now you're acting like everyone used you, like you were trapped. That's funny. I've only tried to help. This story you've made up doesn't even make sense. You were proud to be the one holding everything together. You were good at it. You liked feeling needed. You made it that way. And now that people expect your help, you back away. This isn't about control. It's about keeping things steady. Just look around. When you stop, everything else falls apart. You've always wanted to be the center, but if you pull away now, fine. Just don't act like you didn't want us leaning on you all this time.
Leaning on me, that's what you call it. I gave up my life slowly, piece by piece. Not for attention, but for love. For some kind of peace. I didn't shine in this role. I survived it. I stayed quiet so the pieces didn't fall apart, so no one had to worry. You think I liked hearing you talk about dinner like it was a company meeting? Watching birthdays turn into budgets and sorry notes squeezed between money talks? I said nothing. Every time your father wanted to cut you off, I stood up for you. He told me, you're protecting the version of him you hope is real. And still I stood by you. So don't you dare say I made this all up just to feel needed. You've been holding on to me like I'm your backup plan, hoping I didn't notice the signs. But now I do. And I'm not scared. I wasn't the strong base of this house. I was the little wire you tied everything to, hoping it wouldn't snap.
You're changing the past and hoping I won't call it out. You act like you were the victim, but you used guilt like it was kind and soft. A deep sigh here, a sad step back there. Then never mind. But we understood what you meant. Every chance we had to be ourselves came with a hidden message from you. And you want to talk about giving things up. How about always walking into a room, knowing I had already failed, just because I didn't match the idea of love you wanted to see? I didn't need another parent. I needed a space to be me. But instead, I got your quiet looks judging my life.
That silence wasn't judgment. It was the only way I could deal with it. You think it was simple watching my son turn into someone who trades love for control? I accepted it, because I hoped you'd figure things out one day. But you didn't want to. Control is how you feel safe now. Every time I ask something, You thought I accused you. Every time I said no, you acted like it was a full trial. When your father passed, I thought maybe we'd finally just be honest and sad together. But you showed up with papers and future plans and meetings, and I let it happen. Until today. Because here's something true that you can't twist. You lost someone who gave you money. You didn't lose a dad. And now I can see this isn't about having a mom. You want something you can shape and use.
That's low, and you're better than that. I came here today to talk about how we can do this together. I don't want you to shut everyone out just because you think freedom means going alone. What you do now will affect more people than just you. If you walk away, it hurts me. It changes what you leave behind. You always told me that what we leave behind matters. Or was that just something you said so I'd believe it?
No, I meant it. But I also meant that legacy isn't only about what's left behind. It's about the choices we make while we're still here. And I won't keep saying yes to things just so others feel okay. I've been swallowing your dreams dressed up like love for too long. But I won't disappear on my own dime anymore. You think I'm doing this to punish you? No, I'm doing it to remember who I am. And guess what? I set up my own bank account last week. No more things with both our names on them. Nothing terrible happened. The sun still came up. The world keeps going. You should try it sometime. Live a day without holding on to someone else.
You think this is strength. It's not. It's fear. You're cutting everyone off and calling it freedom. But really, you're just hurt and scared to say it. This new pride you wear, it won't keep you warm. Don't come back later when you realize no one's clapping for this big moment. There's a difference between being your own person and making yourself an island. Good luck figuring out which one you've done.
There was a time when I would drop everything just to hear your voice on the phone. Even when you didn't say much, it still meant something to me. I kept thinking that if I stayed nice enough, quiet enough, gave enough, maybe you'd remember who I was under all the dinner plates, hospital runs, and just this once loans. But here's something nobody really talks about when it comes to grief. It doesn't just remind you of the people you lost. It also shows you the truth about the ones still here. Since your dad passed, I've started to see things more clearly. Not because I'm sad, but because the noise stopped. You stopped pretending. And I stopped waiting. I started writing things down, little things, like where stuff went missing, and who kept calling it a favor. Now I can tell the difference between love and someone using me. And to be honest, it was harder to cancel the newspaper than to freeze our bank account last week.
You froze the account, without even talking to me. That's not how we work. We're supposed to talk, to share. This isn't just about you. Pamela was finishing the deal for Jennifer's wedding place. Do you know how embarrassing it was to tell her my own mum was moving money behind my back? Or was that what you wanted?
Is being embarrassed worse than feeling like you don't exist? I used to think so. I spent years walking on eggshells for your schedule, your plans, your moods, all while sitting in kitchens that felt more like offices. I thought if I stayed quiet and easy, it meant we were okay. But real peace isn't quiet pain. Real peace has a door. Yours only opened when you needed my signature. And when I stopped signing, you stopped showing up. That's when I realized something. I don't need to be sorry for saying no. I need to be brave enough to keep saying it. And once you feel that kind of bravery, guilt starts to sound more like a trick than a truth. So no, I'm not sorry. I won't say sorry for protecting what I've worked for. I'm not your safety net. I'm someone who used to think love meant giving up everything. Now I know giving everything without thanks is just slowly disappearing.
I'm tired of all your deep speeches. Just say what you mean. Are you cutting me off? Is this payback because I didn't handle the funeral like you wanted? Is this you trying to take control? Because right now, it feels like you're tearing apart the life we all agreed on, just because you finally have the space to do it.
I never agreed to be just the helper in the background. I didn't agree to swallow every hurt feeling or to clap for your wins while mine were ignored. And no, I'm not making things up. I'm just finally looking at the truth they told me to ignore. Giving myself permission to read the fine print in my own life. Do you remember that gold bracelet your dad gave me? The one you said looked old and wanted me to sell. He gave it to me the year I almost left him. Not because I wanted more stuff, but because he saw me. He saw how tired I looked. How lost. That bracelet wasn't just jewelry. It was him saying he noticed. And you know what scares me more than dying alone? Living without being seen. So yes, this is a new start. A new chapter. One that I get to write.
So what now? You're just walking away? This new you, what does she even want? A fresh start? Some books and money classes to fix everything? Because if this is you being free, I hope you're ready for the silence too. That bracelet won't help when no one's left to talk to.
The silence is better than fake praise that comes with a price. You say I'm cutting myself off, but what you mean is you don't recognize me now that I stopped doing things for you. Our bond was never about love, it was about what I could give. And now that I'm saving my energy for myself, I'm suddenly the bad guy? No. What's truly wrong is asking me to stretch myself thin for your comfort while questioning my choices. What's really wrong is calling your control love and your rules care. I'm not clueless anymore. I know what it feels like to be truly seen instead of just used. And yes, I'll sit quietly with that, because this silence tells me who I really am.
You talk like a forgotten hero, but really you're changing the story. I was there, I called, I messaged. Maybe I didn't do it perfectly, but I showed up, and every time, I saw someone who never asked for help. You wore guilt so lightly, we all thought it was just kindness. So now that you're upset, don't flip the script to make it look like we were wrong all along. The truth is, you wanted this break, this clean start, this drama. Just say it. It's not just me you're leaving. It's the person you were when you were with us.
Another envelope? Let me guess, just a few signatures, right? I'll say this much, your papers always look very official. Titles, bullet points, clean fonts. But I'm not signing this one. Not today. Because something strange happened the other night. I slept. 8 full hours. No noise, no bad dreams, no walking around the house. Just sleep. You have any idea how long it's been? I woke up and knew I didn't owe that piece to anyone. Not even you. I spent years keeping the home going. Using coupons while you were busy with business deals. Taking care of your kids while I worked part-time. So the bills didn't fall only on your shoulders but mine too. I made myself small so you could shine. And you're shocked I finally want to think for myself? You've always thought I was quiet because I didn't know better. But no, I was quiet because I had to be. You think this paper you brought is doing me a favor? It's not. It's the end of whatever freedom I have left. And you're standing here trying to take it from me. No, Richard, I'm not signing. Because I finally asked myself something I never did before. Why did I think it was always my job to give everything up?
You always knew how to make things sound dramatic when you felt cornered. I'm not here to fight. I'm here because everything is falling apart. You're listening to strangers, getting into things you don't really understand, and risking what you and Dad built. You think this is about control. It's not. It's about keeping you safe. I've watched people your age get tricked and taken for rides, and I don't think you see how open you are to that right now. You say you found your voice, but from where I'm standing, it sounds shaky. Maybe stop imagining I'm the enemy and try to see I've been holding everything together. But if you really want to fight, just know I won't hold back when things go wrong.
Play nice. That's always what you say when I stop doing what you want. Remember when I said I wanted to go back to school? I looked up classes, made a budget, and you said what for? Like I'd said I was moving to the moon. That's when I first felt how small I was in your plans. I remember the loans I signed under my name, because your credit wasn't good enough. Back then, I believed I was helping us grow something. But now I see it wasn't about building, it was about borrowing. My name, my silence, my care. And now I want to take a step back. Breathe, think, and you call that reckless? Stop and listen to how that sounds. I sold my wedding rings to pay for one of your business moves. You never knew that, did you? Because I never sent you a bill for what I gave. Don't worry though, you won't have to pay me back. I sold the fancy watch too. I used the money to hire a lawyer and buy myself a lunch. I didn't have to explain to anyone.
So that's it? You're throwing everything away now that you've found some new sense of self? Let me ask you this. Does it feel good making me the bad guy in your story while you act like the hero with a lawyer and shiny jewelry? Maybe guilt was always your favorite tool, but now you're calling it strength. That's funny. Do you think Dad would be proud of this? Of us not speaking? You think joining book clubs and messing with your money like a stranger helped you start fresh? It looks more like anger wrapped up as freedom.
Don't talk about Dad. You didn't even stay for the whole funeral. Left early for some client dinner. That's what showed me everything. You only love when it's easy. As long as I stayed quiet, stayed the same, you treated me like family. But I've been changing for years. Even as I lied and said, I'm fine, dear. I want to show you something. I made a will. Not to hurt you, don't worry, just to make things clear. There's a part Robert helped write years ago, in case grief or guilt ever made me quiet. It protects my part of what was built. If anyone tries to twist love into pressure, it stops them. I haven't used it until now. I kept thinking you deserved more time. But today when you handed me those papers like I was just another item on your desk, I knew what the real danger was. You assume I'll always choose you, even if you've stopped being someone worth choosing.
So that's it. After all these years, you want to tear it all down. Fine, let's see how far you get. But when you fall, don't expect me to be there. Don't act shocked when standing alone turns out to be harder than it looks. Maybe I didn't treat you right all the time. Maybe I did take you for granted. But I never thought you'd stay so quiet for years, only to use that silence now, like a weapon. And this clause in your will, if you really plan to use that just to keep me out, then maybe you were never really family either.
Family means something only when it goes both ways. If love feels like a tax, then I'm done filing. About being alone, I've never been more sure of anything. Being lonely is when no one hears you. Being in solitude is when you don't need anyone's noise to feel whole. And I finally know the difference. What changed? I stopped thinking being needed meant being respected. I stopped thinking giving up my needs made me holy. And I stopped waiting for you to notice me. I don't need to be noticed by someone who only sees numbers. But here's the last thing I'll say. I didn't take you out of the will. Not yet. I kept you in. Not because I'm soft, but because I wanted to give this last moment a chance, to see if there's still something left to fix between us. So don't ignore this moment. It might be the last quiet space I offer you.
You talk like you're being kind while still throwing threats at me. I see what you're doing, acting like you're on higher ground. Here's my last answer. I won't act like your puppet just to stay in a document. If you're cutting me off, make it clean. But if you're leaving the door open, don't expect me to come crawling back. You've made your decision. Good for you. But I won't cheer for it. Not me. If you think your legal clause will scare me into being someone you like, then maybe you never really knew me at all.
Neither of them moved, but something between them shifted, something small and silent.
Most of my adult life I kept telling myself that being needed was the same as being loved. I thought if I cleaned up the messes, paid the bills nobody talked about, and pretended holidays weren't just bills in disguise, I'd be okay. Maybe even loved. But after your dad died, when all the noise went away, I finally heard how quiet it was, and the silence was loud. You only ever called when something was broken or when a decision had to be made. You never asked if I was okay. So I started digging through the estate, the letters, the notes your father left with the lawyer. There was something more in there than just sadness. There was a rule we never talked about, but he made sure it was there. A kind of safety switch. One that turns on when respect turns into entitlement. It's real, it works, and I turned it on 2 weeks ago. You're not in the will anymore.
That's not funny. You think saying something cruel like that makes you wise now. You're either confused or scared. I get it. Being alone plays tricks on your mind. I've been patient with you. I've tried to help, because I know how people treat widows. But cutting your own son out of a will, that's just mean. And if you think your lawyer is going to stand by it, you're wrong. I already have a meeting with him. He seemed open to changing things.
Open? No. He's just being polite, and he keeps quiet, which is more than I can say for you at that brunch. You called me a silent investor in front of your work friends. Then you gave me a spreadsheet like I was just some bill to be paid. You mistook my silence for loyalty. That was your big mistake. The rule in the will doesn't just move money around. It gives it away for good to people who show respect over time. Your daughter has spent more time folding napkins with me this month than you've spoken to me all year. She once asked me what it felt like to be invisible. I told her the truth. It feels like watching everyone else eat while you're doing the dishes. But not anymore. That kitchen is closed.
So now this is revenge. That's how you finally feel seen. By attacking the one person who stuck around. Even if he wasn't perfect. I was just trying to handle things. Someone had to. Dad left a mess. You just didn't want to deal with it. And sure, maybe I said too much or stepped on toes. Fine, but you're throwing away years of family just because you finally want something for yourself. If you want to be in control, go ahead. But don't act like you're not tearing everything down just to feel strong.
You got it all wrong. This isn't about hurt feelings. It's about finally seeing things clearly. I stayed in a place that stopped making sense once I was no longer seen as a real person. I gave everything. I smiled when I should have shouted. You say you handled things? No. You handled how it looked. You made grief into a performance and read your eulogy like a business plan. And now you're upset because your story is falling apart. I didn't move on from silence. I survived it. And before you say I betrayed you, remember this. You taught me betrayal looks like business. It shakes your hand before it takes your house. So no, this isn't payback. This is what it looks like when I take back my voice, my choices, my name.
You act like I never cared. Like every move I made was cold. That's not fair. You think I didn't stay up late after Dad died making sure nobody tricked you. You think the spreadsheets were for me. I did that so you wouldn't have to worry. I thought you'd be glad. I see now you didn't want someone to control things. You wanted to dream again. And I got in the way. I called it helping, but really I was keeping you small.
And when I finally reached for something, you treated me like a problem, like I was dangerous and didn't belong unless I stayed quiet. But I talked to the lawyer, I talked to the foundation, it's all ready. Soon enough you'll see where the money is going. And yes, some of it is going to people you never even bothered to ask about. I wanted this to end kindly, but I'm done trying to keep something alive that has no roots left. You always thought my silence made me gentle. It didn't. It made me sharp.
You won't even let me fix it. That's what I do. I fix things. That's how I've always felt like I belonged in this family. And now, with you taking over, I feel like you've just left me behind. What am I now? Just the son sitting alone in a boat that doesn't move.
I'm not mad anymore. Strange, right? After everything you did, calling it help. After all the years you wore me down with comments like fragile and grateful, now I just feel calm. You always thought if I stayed quiet I must agree, that when I smiled I meant yes, but really I was keeping score. Every loan you said was a favor, every account under your name, every trip I paid for while you talked about your big dreams. Want to know the small thing that finally broke me? Last month you ordered my food at dinner. You didn't even ask. 12 years ago you would have laughed if I told you I didn't like shrimp. That wasn't about the shrimp, it was about being erased. That's when I knew I hadn't had a voice since your dad died. So here, the envelope next to you, it has the signed papers. You no longer get anything from your father's estate. It's official, no way to change it. And before you try talking your way around it, just know this, you didn't destroy me. You paused me. That's not the same thing.
You think that makes you strong. Cutting me off like you're some kind of hero. That's not brave, that's payback with lipstick. Don't forget who kept this family going when Dad was sick and everything was falling apart. I handled the bills, scheduled the nurses, and you let me. Now I'm suddenly the bad guy for taking charge. Please, you're hurt, fine, but you're going way too far. You want me to feel bad for trying to help while you were floating through sadness. Don't twist the past just because some lawyer told you what you wanted to hear.
You always loved the word help, didn't you? It sounds nice. Makes it look like you're lifting someone up when really you're standing on top of them. You didn't help, you took over. When Dad got sick you visited 2 hours every couple of Sundays between workout classes and business meetings. I never said anything but I never forgot. While you were showing slides about legacy, I was changing the sheets he died on. And one night when I asked you please stay, I'm scared you said, hire someone. So I did. I hired silence. Wore it like a blanket so you wouldn't feel bad. But here's the truth that finally set me free. I don't need to change what happened. I just need to stop paying for the version you keep selling. You always thought your money made you strong. It didn't. It came from me. I was the power source.
You think this was all about money for me, like I was just greedy? No. It was about control, yeah, because you never let me close unless I worked hard for it. You taught me to chase your love, to always try and earn it. And now you act shocked that I kept doing that. You always played the overgiver, always just enough to make me feel like I was never doing enough. And when I finally tried, you pulled away. Don't say you were helpless while building walls around both of us. Let's be honest, we both learnt this mindset in the same house, where love meant giving things up, and being quiet was how we stayed safe.
I'll admit it. I gave up pieces of myself to hold this family together. I taught you how to stand strong, but not by stepping on others. I failed in one big way. I made myself small so you could feel big. And all the giving I did over and over just made you think you deserved it. So I'm ending the pattern. This isn't revenge, it's proof. You turned love into a trade. You thought quiet meant weak. But I was planning. You want to know what really broke me? Your wife, your own wife, called me the ATM with pearls when I wasn't even in the room. And still, I baked the cakes, gave the gifts, smiled for photos, but I'm done now. Taking you out of the will isn't a punishment, it's freedom, for both of us. And the best part is this, without my money, maybe you'll learn who you actually are.
Dressing up a harsh move in soft words doesn't make it kind. It still hurts. Go ahead, burn the bridge. But don't act surprised when all that quiet you wanted doesn't feel peaceful. It just feels empty. People remember how you made them feel, and using money to hurt someone leaves a loud echo. You're not getting freedom. You're trading family for a speech. And when no one claps, remember I told you this would happen.
You're mixing up being alone with being lonely. What I have now is space. Peace doesn't mean silence. It means seeing things clearly. For more than 60 years I was scared of being left. So I gave and gave, hoping someone would stay. But the more I gave, the more I felt alone. So now I choose me. If that makes me the bad one in your story, fine. I'd rather be called wrong for ending the pain than be praised for letting it continue. I didn't leave you behind, you stopped moving. I just stepped off the stage. The show's over, I'm gone.
Then, I guess there's nothing left to say. Except, you could have told me sooner. Before the papers, before the cuts, you could have just said it hurt. Maybe I would have, never mind, doesn't change anything now.
I remember that night when I drove home from your place. You gave me that envelope with all the wedding bills. Everything was typed out like some business deal, and everyone laughed like it was just a joke. But in that moment I saw everything clearly. You weren't really asking for help. You were giving me a bill. I used to sit by your bed when you were sick as a baby, and now I was just a name you needed on a piece of paper. I felt like I didn't matter, and still, I felt like I was being watched. I felt shame in a way I didn't know I still could. But the worst part, I wasn't shocked. That's what broke me. Not the money, not the nerve, but knowing deep down that I had let this happen. All those years I kept quiet to keep the peace. I gave love when I really wanted to speak up. I gave myself away like it didn't count. I stayed quiet and never once asked if you saw me at all. And you didn't. Not really. I watched you turn loss into praise, and nice photos into real closeness. But family isn't something you trade. I stayed longer than I should have, hoping you'd see who I was besides what I gave you. And now I know you won't. I'm not mad anymore. I'm not here to make a point. I'm just done. I hope one day you see what I tried to keep safe, and what I finally decided to keep safe from you.
You're changing the whole story. I didn't mean for things to turn out like that. I thought we were in this together. I thought I was doing my part. I know I can come off strong and say things in a harsh way, but I didn't think I was hurting you by trying to take care of things. I thought I was helping. You never said anything. You never said no. You just let me do it all. How was I supposed to know when I was crossing a line? I didn't mean to make you feel like you didn't matter. I promise I didn't.